It is a truth universally acknowledged that a listener in possession of a podcast must be in want of more episodes. Welcome to Based on a Book, the podcast that aims to please. I'm Lindsey, and I'll be your master for today's session. And no, you are not listening to our 50 Shades episode again.
I'm Keri, and just when I think dating's tough, I imagine doing it in 1813 during the zombie apocalypse.
And I'm Crystal. Much like Mrs. Bennet, I can't wait to get these kids out of here.
And today, we are wrapping up our 2025 adaptations the same way we kicked them off, with a zombie romance. I hosted Warm Bodies back in February, and now I'm back to close out our adaptations this year with Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Last week, we watched 3 different adaptations of the original Pride and Prejudice, so today we're putting the classic and the chaos side by side as we talk about what happens when you keep the romance but add the undead. But before we jump into battle, let's start with our book ratings. And I want to start with Crystal.
I'm struggling with this one. I'm not going to lie. I think that I got bored with this only because I just read Pride and Prejudice. And Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is literally it's exactly what it says it is. It's Pride and Prejudice with some zombies sprinkled in.
Mm-hmm.
The plot, the storyline is exactly the same. It's exactly the same. There's occasionally a short little battle where they have to eliminate the zombies. But other than that, and I just read it. So it was like just reading it again, but occasionally we'll throw in the undead to give you, I don't know, a little thrill or something. But I struggle rating this, I think, fairly. I would say if I hadn't just read, like literally last week, Pride and Prejudice, I probably would have enjoyed this more. And if I factor that in, I give this 3.5 afflicted. Yeah.
I gave it the same rating, 3.5 katanas. It felt like a parody of Pride and Prejudice, which is exactly what it is. I listened to the audio, which had like extra zombie scenes because the original one didn't have enough zombie scenes apparently, which I thought was really fun. Thankfully it did, because like Crystal said, this is exactly Pride and Prejudice with zombie moments. The author even says, like, in the beginning note of the story, like, they literally wrote this book and was just editing, like they had the book and they were just like inserting small zombie moments into the original story. Like some pages would have lots of edits, some pages would just have one single like line of editing, and that was it. But personally, I think that there were a lot of holes in the plot now that we remove navigating dynamics of society and adding new dynamics of society, because there were a lot of just like inconsistencies, like whether it was like proper or not for women to be fighters and things like that. I feel like the entire dynamic of Pride and Prejudice is a little bit out the window, because it's like everyone kind of feels like they are on the same level, or the same level of playing field during a zombie apocalypse, but like also not. Like the whole point of Pride and Prejudice is navigating society and relationship dynamics and, dynamics between men and women, and that just like, it's never consistent, I think, throughout the story. And because those society dynamics are essentially the main focus of the story, those inconsistencies are super obvious to me. But that being said, I still think it's like, it's funny. They had a lot of funny moments, and I still thought it was enjoyable.
That's fair. Surprisingly, I gave this book 2 ankle daggers.
Oh.
2 ankle daggers. Oh my god.
So the tone of the book feels very serious because, like you both said, it is literally Pride and Prejudice with some zombies.
Mm-hmm.
But there are the weird random scenes that aren't serious. They're very clearly funny.
Right.
And I felt like it put the book in like this weird in between place where it
Mhm.
was like super serious, but then not super serious. And I really
Mhm.
wanted it to go one way or the other. I wanted super serious all the way through or just completely funny. And I kept thinking, why can't this be funny like Hitchhiker's Guide or something?
Right.
And it's not a letdown. It's just not what I was expecting.
I think because like a lot of the lines, like the conversation, the dialogue is exactly the same word for word,
Mhm.
but then randomly we'll have sexual innuendo.
Mhm.
And it's like,
Mhm.
how do you go from so serious, you know, like and super proper, etiquette to jokes about balls? You know what I mean? Like it just felt weird. So no, yeah, I get that for sure.
There was one bald joke that made me laugh. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, a couple of them made me laugh. I'm not like they were laughable, but it just felt
Mhm.
off-putting that like 1 minute you're laughing at this weird sexual innuendo, and then we're right back to like, making sure that tea is served properly or whatever,
Mhm.
you know?
I think something that really bothered me was that there would be moments where, like, it was important for women in society to be fighters and to be trained as fighters.
Mhm.
But then there were moments where once you get married, they don't want you to be fighting. But also, Lady Catherine was like the best fighter of all time, and everyone wants to be like Lady Catherine.
Mhm.
It was like those type of inconsistencies that were just like not making sense. It was like they were trying to put in being trained as a fighter was like equivalent to what they think during, the book in Pride and Prejudice, how Elizabeth talks about how you have to be good at sewing, reading, and be know all these languages and all this stuff. Like, how that whole speech she does about
Being
how,
accomplished.
yeah, being so accomplished. And she's like, I'm surprised you know this many women, to Darcy when he says all these things. But also, he looks down on her for being a fighter and fighting zombies. So
Hmm.
it was like inconsistencies like that, which didn't really make sense to me.
Do you think Lady Catherine was such a renowned fighter because she was a widow? She's technically
Mm,
not married anymore, so maybe she went back?
but they would talk about how they're like, you weren't trained by the same people I was trained by when you were like younger, or like things
Right.
like that, like growing up. Like you didn't have the same level training as me, like in your household. Like it had to be, there was like a certain expectation
Hmm.
Hmm.
in
I'm
this
just curious.
society.
I'm just curious if the children are trained, just children in general, girls, boys, they're trained, and then when they get married, it's up to the the man of the house to take on the zombie hordes. But then Mr. Bingley wasn't trained.
Right.
Or
And
Mr. Collins.
and Mr. Darcy, who is supposed to be like so highly trained, his little sister, Miss Darcy, is not very well trained. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And so like, okay, which one is it? Are the men
Yeah.
supposed to protect the women, or are the women, or is
Yeah.
everybody kind of for themselves, or
And Mr. Darcy makes a comment in the very beginning of the book where he's kind of looking down on the Bennets in this very first scene of like a battle against the zombies, kind of opening it up, kind of looking down on them for being like fighters and things like that. And then later on saying that it's expected of women to be trained
Mhm.
in things like this. So I was like, this doesn't really make sense. Because that's the whole purpose of Pride and Prejudice is women navigating this society. And so
right?
whenever you kind of take out this element or mess with it in this way, it's super obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I also wanted to bring something up, but it's toward the end. And I don't know if it's technically a spoiler because it's Pride and Prejudice.
It's Pride and
So
Prejudice.
we kind of know the story.
Yeah.
But I guess before we get into spoilers, was there anything else we wanted to discuss?
Nope. I say we get into the spoilers because I need to talk about this movie.
Yep.
Okay, so before we jump in, here's your spoiler warning. We're about to compare this book and movie to not only each other, but also to the original Pride and Prejudice. This means we'll be discussing plot points, twists, character changes, and all the undead. If you haven't read Pride and Prejudice or Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, or you haven't seen any of the movies, and you want to experience romance and mayhem for yourself, this is your chance to pause, catch up, and return when you're ready. But of course, before we continue, a quick content and trigger warning. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies contains violence, gore, depictions of illness, and scenes involving zombie attacks that may be intense for some listeners. We'll be discussing these elements throughout our comparisons, so please listen at your own comfort level. So, adding zombies. What did we think?
I mean, I don't mind it. I didn't mind it that much. I thought it was kind of fun, to be honest.
I don't mind it. I didn't mind it. I wish there were more. I wish that was more of the plot. Because I feel like it wasn't like in the majority of zombie, media of any kind, like we get either we know or are told how the zombie outbreak started, which in the movie we get that, which is again that fantasy trope that I love where they like give us the backstory with a little show. It was so well done. I love that.
I was watching it and I was like, oh, I know Crystal's loving this.
Absolutely. I was into it. But like we don't necessarily get that so much in the book. And then like there's a like how we're going to cure the zombies or solve the zombie problem, and we don't get any of that. Like it's a little mentioned that maybe, but it's not a part of the plot. It's not, and there's no resolution to the zombie issue or even a hint that there is one coming. And I know that this is a series, like is there a third book? I didn't look.
There is a prequel, and I think the graphic novel has a sequel.
Okay. Because I feel like I just didn't get any resolution on the zombie part. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that really, I like zombie stuff. So not having a resolution or even like the idea of a resolution kind of put out there left me, I felt like I got left hanging,
Mm-hmm. Lindsey, you read the graphic novel. How did you think of it?
I did, and honestly, I gave the book 2. I'm gonna give the graphic novel 5 katanas.
Oh.
Okay. That makes more sense, though. I feel like this is a story probably better told through that format.
Mm-hmm. It's really good. And with the graphic novel, I mean, it cuts out a lot of the filler stuff, and you just get the really good zombie stuff.
Okay.
So
I would have liked that. I might have to go read that now.
And the artwork's fantastic. Like, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
Nice.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah. I think the reason why they changed, which we'll get into a little bit later, but they changed the movie so much was because they needed more reason for things to be happening for the zombie purposes. Because I don't want to say that it's lazy, okay? It's not lazy. It just feels the
lazy.
Pause. It feels kind of lazy. I'm sorry. It feels like just inserting these little scenes in here and
so
not
Jane
really
Austen
following through.
Right, but like Jane Austen is listed as one of the authors, and she would have to be. And I guess a part of me was really hoping that this was like inspired by Pride and Prejudice, that we would see some of the
Yeah.
characters, but not necessarily the entire plot, because the plot is zombies.
Yeah.
But that's not it. It's
That-
really not what's happening here.
That's what I feel like is a big difference between Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, the book, and Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, the movie,
Mhm.
is that the book feels like a parody. The movie feels like it's inspired by the original Pride and Prejudice story.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what I feel like. And I think it's really interesting the way that they did that. And I think that they had to, because I don't think it would have been very interesting in how it's written in the book.
I feel like the movie was actually kind of an action movie.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And the book didn't quite have the
Mhm.
action vibe at all.
Not
to
really.
me.
No, it was just like funny. Like it just had like it was felt very silly to me. It wasn't
Yeah.
very serious. It felt super silly and ridiculous. Changing characters, in my opinion, like crazy. There's like a very specific character I'm thinking of that they changed big time in the book. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the movie yet, but the book they changed. Poor Mr. Bennett in the book.
Yeah.
They changed him big time and kind of made him a jerk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they really did.
They,
And the aunt. The aunt that goes to Pemberley with Elizabeth.
uh-huh.
Yep.
Kind of a jerk.
Yeah. They had Mr. Bennett where like basically insinuating that he's like sleeping around or something
Yeah.
with like all these people while they were like doing their training
Yep.
Mhm.
whenever
Same
they
with
were
the-
younger.
Same with the aunt when they go to Pemberley.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I was like, why?
Again, they added some very awkward sexual innuendo
Mm-hmm.
in places where it just felt more awkward than funny,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Because
Yeah.
there were funny moments. There was a lot that was like, giggle, silly, funny, but there was a lot that was just like, that's just weird,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Wait, Lindsay, what did you think about adding the zombies in it overall?
Overall, I really like the concept. I like the idea. Just don't like the execution. And even the author, Seth Grahame-Smith, in the heirloom edition, he said that when the book first came out, people were like, we want more zombies. So he added 30% more zombies. And here we are, still crying, we want more zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because in my audiobook edition, it definitely said that it had the extra zombie scenes in it. And I'm like, it's not feeling this way. And like you said before, it was like we would have the, etiquette of this society and like the proper way of speaking and all this stuff. And then it would just like go rogue with different like speech and like different types of conversations, and which is fine, but like incorporate, mesh it together more.
Right.
So, having read the heirloom edition book and the graphic novel, there was only one scene that I found, and Keri, you listen to the audiobook, so you can kind of back me up on this. And Crystal, you did too. So I
Mhm.
guess we all got the extended edition. But the one scene that I did not see in the graphic novel was when the wall fell in London. When Elizabeth is there with her aunt and uncle and the east wall falls, that's not in the graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty
Interesting.
sure everything else was like the infant zombie and
Mhm.
the
Uh-huh.
woman that's in there in the graphic novel. The carriage with the girl who sells the oil,
The lamp
the
oil.
lamp oil, that's in the graphic novel. So
Okay.
I really don't know what 30% was added.
Hmm. There was like whenever I started the audiobook, I was going back to the version that I have. I have this like version that's commonly I think seen on shelves and stuff. I would go back and check, whenever they were getting added. And I mean, right off the beginning, it wasn't lining up with the audiobook. Lots of extra scenes in there. So I thought that was interesting. But I'm happy that I listened to the audio because I still felt that it needed more.
I struggled through all 300 something pages.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
I really think I would have enjoyed it more, though, if I hadn't literally just read Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have been a little bit more excited about it. But legit, after reading Pride and Prejudice, watching one of the movies, discussing the other 3 movies, like by the time I got to this, it was so much the same that I was just over it, you know?
I'm actually really glad I had Pride and Prejudice in mind because it was just easier to compare the two.
Yeah, true. That's how I felt too. Like the fact that we had analyzed the original story so much, it felt easier to pinpoint when things were so different in the new story.
And having never read Pride and Prejudice before and watched the movie like 15 years ago, like none of that was in my mind. I could not have told you the difference between the two.
Yeah. I was like so excited to watch this movie because I was like, oh, I don't remember like seeing that. I did see it one time before. I was like, I don't remember what's in this movie or like who's in it and all this stuff. Oh my gosh, this movie.
I had it on Blu-ray, but I had to open it. It was still wrapped in cellophane.
Nice.
That's great.
And I bought it when the Blu-ray came out, so.
Oh. I had never seen it. I didn't know what to expect. I assumed that I was watching another Pride and Prejudice. It's not. I mean, it is, but like I kind of liked the movie more than the book.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know that we usually don't get to that to the end, but I'm excited to talk about it,
Yeah.
Again, with this, there were things that I liked about the movie, and there were things that I didn't like about the movie.
Yeah.
But how did we feel about the characters themselves, like Elizabeth Bennet, Mr. Darcy? Did we like the actors? Did we like how they were portrayed in the movie? What are we thinking?
I'm so excited to get into this because I've been waiting. I've been keeping my mouth shut. I haven't said anything. We haven't discussed this at all. Okay, so Elizabeth Bennet, played by Lily James. All right. In the book, I really need to talk about this because this is really bothering me. In the book, she is like a fighter. She's like, fuck these zombies, okay? She does not fuck with the zombies. She's killing every zombie in sight. She hates these things. She doesn't care. She doesn't even ask questions, all right? She is the ultimate fighter. And like, even to the point that like, she actually like laughs at Bingley and Darcy off to the side in like first scene going in because they're not touching anything. Like they're not fighting after like the sisters are in their like 5-star formation, 5-pointed star formation, like doing their thing. You know what I mean? And she is the ultimate fighter. This movie flipped it around. They made Darcy this badass fighter. Okay. Not saying he's not a fighter because later we learn that he does, he's better and he does fight a little bit in the book. But they flipped it around in this movie. And I was getting flashbacks to Silence of the Lambs, okay? When she in the book was like this really badass like detective and she was very good at like not getting like, her emotions were
right. She's very stoic.
Really very stoic, able to do it, everything, do her job. And then they switched her in the movie, making her like getting super emotional over things. And we were like, this is not the same person in the book. They were doing that in this movie. They were making her more like demure, She was feeling very emotional over zombies, over people that she knew and things like that. And I was like, this is not my Elizabeth that fights zombies.
There was only one point in the book when Elizabeth hesitated, and it was with the infant zombie and
Yep.
the mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she and Jane, they were like, we'll never speak of this again. And
Yeah.
obviously it's never brought up again, but that's the only time I can think of that she hesitated. She didn't do
Yeah.
anything.
She even, like, when Lydia's, like, going off and off on her tangent, she, like, pictures, like, cutting off her freaking head.
Yeah.
Okay? And you guys switched it up in this movie, making her to be this, like, damsel in distress all the freaking time, and making Darcy this, like, hero killing all these zombies and, like, having to, like, save her a lot. I was getting pissed.
They did try to redeem themselves at the end, but
Yeah,
it
not
didn't-
enough.
it didn't
Not
make
enough, in
up.
my opinion.
No, it didn't make up for what they did to her in the beginning.
I was really, like, I was upset about that. I was like, because I think it was like there was one party she went outside and she saw somebody that came up who was a zombie that she knew, and
Mrs.
Darcy killed,
Featherborn
And
or
she
something.
hesitated at the very open. She
Yeah.
hesitates.
and Darcy kills the zombie for her, and she gets mad at Darcy for doing it.
Yeah, because he
Sorry?
swoops in like this, like, white knight gonna come save her, damsel in distress. Our Lizzie would never have been in distress.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
No.
The second she saw that zombie, dead, done for.
Yup.
But also the zombies were talking.
Right?
Yeah, like normal people.
Yeah. This was not the same kind of zombie
Yeah.
as a zombie.
Yeah, and that
Didn't like
was
that
just,
at all.
yeah, that really bothered me. I did not like the switch up they did. I'm curious, what do you think of the guy who played Darcy?
Sam Riley as Darcy.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Lindsey, what about you?
He was okay. I didn't mind him.
Listen, I have seen pictures of Sam Riley. I looked him up just to make sure that, like, is this the person I think it is? Yes. And he's a handsome man. Why did they make him look so freaking goofy? Why? It's killing me because Darcy is supposed to be handsome but aloof, right?
Mhm.
Like, they made him the goofiest looking jerk at the ball or whatever, the society ball.
He's not as handsome as Wickham.
Well, no, really. Definitely not. What did they do to poor Sam Riley,
Why it was bothering me so bad that his voice was like that.
His
Right?
voice did throw me off. Like, the minute he started speaking, I was like, wait.
He was like, "Wah, wah, wah, wah." Like,
Yeah,
I was like,
like-
why are you growling 24/7?
I hated it. I was like, he doesn't sound like that in real life, I don't think. Because I was watching it with my boyfriend. He was like, what sound like what? I was like, you can't hear that? You can't, like, this is not Batman.
Literally, he sounded like he was doing Batman.
It was weird. Didn't like it.
I'm
that
not
was
familiar
bad.
with any of his work, so I haven't seen him in anything else. So I don't know what he sounds like normally.
Yeah, I haven't either. I looked at, like, his other stuff. I have not seen any of his other stuff, so I don't know either. I don't like what's happening there. I don't
But do
know
you know
what's
who I-
happening. I don't like it.
You know who I did love in this movie, though? Is
Who?
Matt Smith as Parson Collins.
Me?
Oh, God.
I
Yeah.
loved it.
The only
I
reason I
loved
liked the
it.
movie. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like, how he made Mr. Collins so much more annoying, but in the funniest freaking way.
So good. He did.
Like-
I had doubts though. I had doubts at first.
He, for such a somewhat minor character, he stole the scene of every scene he was in. It
Mhm.
was so perfect.
Apparently, they even had to cut some of Lizzie's scenes because she was laughing so hard at his reactions and
Mhm.
stuff. So
That's
she
how
had
they
lines
met.
cut.
That's how they met, and they dated for like 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
After that, they met on this set.
Yeah, they were dating during production, I
Mhm.
think.
So funny. So funny.
Yeah, he is hilarious, and they got like 3 Game of Thrones characters up in here. Well, he's in House of the Dragon, but they've got a lot of well-known actors in here.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even talk about Sam Riley having his Colin Firth moment. in the movie.
Yes!
Lake.
He had his lake moment.
Yup.
Mhm.
Jumping in the lake. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
that is totally like a nod to Colin Firth right there.
Well,
Yup.
apparently Pride and Prejudice is Sam Riley's mom's favorite book, and
Mhm.
she encouraged him to watch the BBC TV adaptation of Pride and Prejudice.
Aw, thanks, Mrs. Riley.
Yeah, I love that. The second I saw that, I was like, oh,
Yep. I
that's
called it out.
perfect.
I was like, oh, this is from a different adaptation.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, there's also another like Pride and Prejudice like type of crossover. I think Mrs. Bennet, Sally Phillips, she's also in Bridget Jones' Diary,
Yep.
which I thought was really cool. I guess like a lot of the actors looked towards her for advice regarding like Pride and Prejudice and like also like being in like a comedy type thing. So they were looking to her too. And also Suki Waterhouse as
Mhm.
Kitty. Can we talk about how she didn't have a single line?
Not a single one.
Not one line. She didn't say a word.
Nope.
Like, actually did not say a single word.
I watched the behind the scenes stuff and watched interviews with her, and apparently all of the Bennett sisters did their own stunts for the movie, and she apparently like messed up her arm. She had like this huge bruise on her arm from
Oh my gosh.
I think the first fight when they get into the 5-pointed star position. Yeah. She got messed up.
Yeah. And then the actor who plays Bingley,
Douglas Booth.
Yeah, Douglas Booth. He was actually in another adaptation with the guy who plays Mr. Bennett, the And Then There Were None
Oh yeah, okay.
adaptation. I actually watched that not that long ago because my family did like a book club. We read that book and then we watched the adaptation. That one's pretty good. It's not that bad. I like that one, but they're both in there together.
What did we
Someone
think
needs
of
cool.
Wickham? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. Wickham?
What did we think of Wickham?
You know, he looks like a Wickham.
Right?
He looks like a Wickham.
He sure does. I think he pulled it off pretty well.
He
Yeah.
was a good Wickham. I'll give him
Yeah.
that.
He was. But this movie did a whole side quest with Wickham. Okay. That was
Hated it.
completely out of left field. Because like we said, the book Pride and Prejudice and Zombies follows along with the original Pride and Prejudice story. Just adding in zombies into the mix. Like a zombie apocalypse into the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, the movie, we're on a completely different side quest. This is inspired by Pride and Prejudice.
And we get a little bit more of the like, how are we going to fix the zombie problem? Which is what I like, you know?
Yeah. Something in the book that I can't stop thinking about that I wish was in the movie. Wait, was this in the graphic novel? It's the part where Elizabeth Bennet, she's like showing off her skills to everyone, and she literally does a one finger.
Yeah, she's on her, like, yeah, and then she remains on her fingers for the rest of the, you know, whatever.
They're like, she puts like a modesty rope around her dress so it doesn't like fly up. And then she's like doing a handstand and then she's up on one finger.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it was definitely in the graphic novel.
Nice. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. I was hoping to see that in the movie. I'm like, I want to see this one finger handstand.
That's some serious way.
Oh wait, Lindsay's showing us for anyone that's listening.
Love it.
Yes, that's perfect. That was something I really wanted to see, and I wish I got to see it in the movie.
Yep. Since you didn't get to see it in the movie, I'll show you in the graphic novel.
Perfect. Also, I really loved in the book, and I kept this in the movie too, is them fighting during the initial proposal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Between
that
Darcy and Lizzie. I loved that. That was so good.
Mm-hmm. I really liked that scene.
When the arguments are happening in the book and in the movie, they're physically fighting each other, which is a really funny added touch, I think.
That's how I have all my arguments. How are you doing it? Like, okay. But I really love that anger. You know, it's not just like, you know, in original Pride and Prejudice, for the most part, they're having the exact same argument. They're saying the same words.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue is there. And you can tell that Elizabeth is pissed. But in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, she gets to physically exert this aggression out of her. She gets to show us that rage. And I loved every minute of it. It was so good.
It was so funny.
How did we feel about the difference in subplots with Jane when she goes to Netherfield and she gets sick and she has to stay for a little while?
I like what the movie did because when I read it in the book, I initially was like, why is no one in the zombie apocalypse being weirded out by the girl being sick?
Right.
Like, my
And came
initial
by
reaction,
herself.
yeah. She came by herself across whatever, getting to Netherfield.
And we're supposed to just believe that she's sick. We don't, there was no witness to whether or not she actually encountered any, unmentionables, or undesirable. What did they call them in the book? They call them all kinds of stuff.
Lots of things.
Yeah. I like that they don't always call them zombies.
The Z word.
Like zombies. They switch it up a lot. I like that.
Say the Z word.
Yeah. They call them dreadfuls or unmentionables. But I like that they brought that into the movie because I was really thinking at that time, I was like, no one's going to question that this girl is sick. And it's not being like, hey, are you a zombie? Because are you turning right now? Because we need to know.
Right. I also love in the movie how the gun backfired or jammed on her, and so it burned her hand. And so, like, when she got there and she was sick and they were like, you have this sore on your hand. Where did you get that?
Mm-hmm.
I liked that too.
Yeah. Also, adding in the element of Darcy being so paranoid about it is very fitting for his character.
Yes.
And his personality, I think. What did you think, Lindsay?
Well, in the book, Darcy separates Jane and Bingley because he thinks Jane is infected. In the movie, it's because he overheard Mrs. Bennet, and it's back to the Pride and Prejudice. She's going to use him for his money, and it's to get the other Bennet sisters in good standing with other rich men. So that was pretty different.
Yeah. Which is like so crazy to me. Like, we're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse and we're still talking about this.
Right.
This is insane.
I'm telling you, Mrs. Bennet just didn't want to have to keep feeding all those girls.
Yeah.
Or paying for all those dresses.
Yeah. She's like, we don't have the funds during the zombie apocalypse.
Right.
Makes sense.
I want to talk about Charlotte.
Yes. We need to talk about that.
I'm so disappointed that this storyline wasn't in the movie.
I am too.
Because I think it was so well done in the book. This is honestly, this is the storyline that kind of bumped up the book for me. Because it really does like add in, okay, now it's not just there's zombies out there, there's a zombie in here too.
Yeah.
And how do we actually handle this?
Yeah, Charlotte, she ends up becoming one of the unmentionables, and it's actually, in my opinion, kind of sad.
It is.
Because
very.
No one is noticing that she's changing. It's the same storyline of like, she's is with Mr. Collins and stuff, and only Lizzie is noticing that she's changing. And right before she was changing, Charlotte was like, just don't tell anybody, blah 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 blah. And that was like the one time that we saw from Lizzie that she was like finally being like, okay, I won't do it. But she kept thinking that she should like end her life for her. But she was slowly changing over, and eventually, like, nobody was noticing. Even she would talk about Lady Catherine when they would go visit her. She's like, she's this well-known warrior, and she doesn't even know that there's an unmentionable sitting right across from her. And they don't put this in the movie at all, to the point that eventually Charlotte dies, and Mr. Collins writes them saying that he's going to end his life. Which I couldn't tell if he was going to do that because he was upset or because he is also sick.
I couldn't tell if it was because he
Yeah.
was also sick or if he thought it would reflect poorly
Right.
on.
If it would like absolve him of the, I don't know, the shame of having
Mhm.
been married to a dreadful, maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what direction. I mean, I guess it's kind of a plot hole, but
Yeah.
the
And
fact that he used her favorite tree in the garden, that was that kind of hit.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was sad. And they didn't put that in the movie at all.
Nope. Oh, they couldn't kill Matt Smith. He was the best
Yeah,
character
no.
in the whole movie.
They
He
could
really
not.
was. He
He
was
was
so
great.
good.
I loved him.
We talked about Lady Catherine, but what about the big difference between Lady Catherine in the book and the movie? There's no duel at the end. She wants to save the Bennets and lets them stay with her at Rosings or whatever her place is called.
This
Yeah.
changes. This is when again the the book is Pride and Prejudice and the movie is so not,
Mhm.
that it actually kind of made it more enjoyable and more fun for me because it wasn't as predictable. And I liked that we see this warrior because, Lady Catherine's a warrior in this series or in this story. And we see her at first really pissed at Elizabeth, but then like Elizabeth, there's the duel and she earns Lady Catherine's respect. And I kind of like that like, okay, I like I can see you're a worthy opponent. I respect you. Let's get your family safe. I thought that was kind of cool,
Mhm.
personally.
It it reminded me of the adaptation that you watched where she went in to
Yeah.
confront Elizabeth and
Yeah.
then went out and was like, "Oh, I tested her and she passed the test."
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it reminded me of too. I was like, "Oh, so I get to watch this twice." Like, yep.
Yeah, it didn't really bother me at all about the Lady Catherine situation at all. I think what really threw me for a loop was the Wickham thing.
The side quest is insane.
This was absolutely absurd. So, Wickham coming in, first of all, I think like what was the purpose? Are we supposed to like because of this we're supposed to think he's kind of a little bit less of a bad guy because of he wasn't doing the things that he was doing before to Lydia? Like is this what the purpose is?
I don't
I
know.
I think we were supposed to, because okay, so like they painted it as him trying to save the zombies,
Because he's
right?
thinking like he's saying that the zombies have like humanity almost.
And they
Right. And as
can.
long as they don't feast on their first brain,
Mhm.
human brain,
Mhm.
they won't fully turn.
And they can coexist with humans.
Mhm.
Right. And so we're supposed to think that he's potentially a good guy. But then he takes Lydia and we find out that this whole time that it's not necessarily that he's trying to save these freaking zombies. He's actually trying to like almost control and recruit these dreadfuls to take over London.
He builds an army and he tries to overthrow England.
Yep.
Like the switch up was crazy. At this point, like I literally threw my notebook. I literally like took it and just like threw it off to the side because I was like, we're in a whole new area at this point.
Honestly, I like this plot better. It's so crazy and so out of
Yeah.
left field and so very, and again, this is like even in original Pride and Prejudice, I'm thoroughly convinced that the reason Wickham runs off with Lydia in the first place is not necessarily to marry her. It is he chooses Lydia because he wants to bring shame to Elizabeth and Darcy, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
She wants to he knows that Elizabeth and Darcy are buddy buddy now, and
Mhm.
he's realized he can't win over Elizabeth ever, and he's like, I'm gonna ruin you for it. I'm gonna ruin you for it. So he's constantly trying to ruin people. He's constantly trying to get back at people. So that this fits his character. This is straight Wickham. I'm going to recruit a zombie army and take over England. Because screw y'all, everybody here, everybody's been against me since birth. Heaven forbid I do any sort of self-reflection or growth, personal growth. I'll just use these zombies.
You know what was also making me laugh was that Darcy just like having his hands in everything. Like having his hands like in every little like zombie type war, zombie battle or whatever. Also Bingley being involved in these battles. Bingley ain't been there.
No.
So correct me if I'm wrong. In Pride and Prejudice and the book Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, it's Mr. Darcy, and then he has a cousin who is Colonel Fitzwilliam.
Yes.
And then in the movie, in the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies movie, he is Colonel Fitzwilliam Darcy.
Yes.
So did they just combine the two? Okay.
I noticed that. They totally did. They did. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, they combined the title of his cousin with Darcy.
Yep.
To make him be able to, like I said, move around to other areas like that.
Also, why is Darcy like leading the battles wearing this leather coat the whole time?
The leather
coat. Everybody around him in a uniform, but he's in this leather coat that looks like it came out of the 60s. It's not like 1960. Not like what is happening here?
And the leather coat makes it all the way to the double wedding at the end. The double wedding, which is actually from the BBC version, because they have a double wedding.
It's actually in the graphic novel too.
Nice.
Oh, really? Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's like how it is in the BBC adaptation.
And then, I don't know if it was post-credit, but there was the scene after the wedding.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You guys, let me tell you what I haven't learned yet.
Stay till after the credits.
Stay seated until after the credits.
Let me tell you what I have yet to learn.
You're not really big into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, are you?
No, but okay. So if I'm in the movie
Lindsey
theater,
and I learned our lesson hard.
Okay, when I'm in the movie theater, I don't leave until like the lights come on. Okay. Because I'm like, I gotta stay for the post credits, like, and all that stuff. For some reason, like the second when I'm watching it at home, I'm like, I'm done with her ass. See ya. Like, I'm done. Like, turn off. Like, and I'm like not sitting there for the post credits whatsoever.
It wasn't that amazing or anything.
I missed it on His Dark Materials, missed it here.
So let me ask first, how long do you think Wickham was an unmentionable before we found out in the movie? Like, when do you think he actually got bit?
I think he got bit before he came to Longbourn.
Yeah.
Or Meryton.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's been bit for quite some time, unfortunately.
Okay. I could see that.
Yeah.
He had just accepted the commission to Meryton. Like, so he had just signed up to join His Majesty's army. So I feel like he probably did that after he got bit, thinking that was his only way to like have access to stuff, or I don't know.
Well, in the movie there's St. Lazarus, I think that's the name of it.
Yep.
And that's where the unmentionables who have not technically turned completely, they haven't had their first human brain, that's where they reside. I don't know how he found out about this place. So I don't know if it was when he first stumbled upon these zombies and then he got bit, or if that's why he's there. He got bit and he knows about St. Lazarus, so he decides to go there and build up this army.
I don't know. Well, can we actually talk about Wickham in the book too. Wickham in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, the book, because they change his story here as well. They completely switch it up. They switch it up to where he gets into like a carriage accident. So they do the whole thing where Darcy finds him and they're like gets him to get married and all this stuff, do the whole storyline because, this is like a parody. This isn't inspired by like the movie. And Wickham is in a carriage accident. He can no longer be in the he can no longer be an officer. He now can't walk, I don't think.
He can't move, I think, from the neck down. He can't move his arms. He can't move his legs.
He's completely paralyzed. And now, but Lydia and him are married, and that's like the end of their story.
Yep.
I was like, hello?
I was here for it for that one. Wickham earned every last bit of that.
But I was just like, why?
I mean, he wasn't really in a carriage accident. Darcy did that to him, and they used the carriage accident to cover it up.
Yeah.
Because Darcy at this point was sick of his shit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a violent book.
Yeah, I was going to say, argument is violence instead of actually arguing with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, he was going around making babies.
Yeah, they really played that up in this book, too.
Yeah, they actually did.
Mm-hmm.
So many babies, so many debts, so many bastards all over England.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the post-credit scene is literally right after the wedding. They're walking away, and there's a horde of zombies running at them, and Wickham is leading the charge.
Yep.
Me. No idea. Last I saw was them kissing at their wedding.
Yep, no. Oh, and the bridge explosion in the movie. I completely forgot about the bridge.
Oh my gosh. That was so extra. That was so
extra.
That was so much of them riding together across the bridge. It exploded. Honestly, I was like, oh, they're dead.
I was so upset about the horse.
I know.
Right?
Wait, we don't even know if it survived.
We don't know.
Well, I will say this is a PG-13 movie. I really wish it was rated R.
Yeah, me too.
Because I was like, a zombie movie, PG-13.
Yeah, I see that.
I think the only one that could pass is Warm Bodies.
Yeah, true. Because I think that, oh man, what is that movie called? That Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that one's rated R or not.
I don't remember.
I remember that movie, and I thought that was really good.
It's based on a book.
Yeah. It's a good book.
Yep.
I own that book. I've never read it.
You should read it. Go read it. Oh, next season on baseball.
Oh, wait.
Right.
So, with all that in mind, I think I kind of know what Crystal said earlier.
Yeah. But movie.
Okay, final verdict, Crystal movie.
Yeah.
Keri.
I'm going book.
Okay.
I think the book was better.
I'm gonna cheat.
I think the book was better.
Yeah, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna say the graphic novel.
There you go.
And that brings us to our question of the episode. There are tons of monster mashup parodies of classic literature out there, like Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters, or Wuthering Bites, which turns Emily Bronte's story into a vampire tale. So, if you could take any classic and give it a monster makeover, which book would you choose, and which creature or creatures would you add? Anyone really excited about their answer?
Crystal, you go first.
I'm kind of excited. I thought so long and hard about this. I struggle. I'm not good at puns. I'm not particularly, I don't have the comedy creative genius at all. And so I just started looking at lists of classic books and trying to think of stuff, and I was just bombing it, and I about gave up. And suddenly, I saw it in my mind, and I put it together, and it's perfect. Peter Pan and the Mothman. Right? Okay, because J.M. Barrie is actually from Scotland, right? So the Appalachian Mountains and the mountains of Scotland are like from the original mountain chain before, like, so there could be some crossover there. For all we know, Peter Pan is the Mothman. Just saying.
Ooh.
Could be interesting.
Oh.
I know, right? There we go. I love me some cryptids and
That
some
is
classic
very
literature.
interesting.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Mine, I'm excited.
Oh,
Mine is Jane Eyre and the Vampire. Okay.
oh.
Matt, picture this. Picture this. Okay. Jane Eyre, story of Jane Eyre. Okay, so you know how he's, hiding his wife, hiding his wife somewhere. The wife he's hiding is actually a vampire. Okay? She's actually a vampire, and he's been hiding and feeding her his blood. And like the whole time, she's like, why does he have all these marks on him? That's really bizarre. I love him anyways. I'm going to get married to him. But this is a little strange. Why does all the people I'm around have marks on them? Or whatever. But he's like kind of keeping his wife alive because he's feeding her because she's a vampire. Okay. And then all of a sudden she comes out and she's a vampire and like attacks everybody, turning everyone into a vampire, turns him. The girl runs away. And then she eventually sees him again. He's a vampire. The end.
You've thought so hard about this story. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed.
It's a good
Jane
one.
Eyre and the Vampire.
We just got the whole story.
I know.
Yep.
Wow.
I think it would be great.
You should write it. I'll read it.
I'll read it.
Yeah.
And then we'll turn
I'll
it
get
into a
on that.
movie. We'll turn it into a movie and then we'll watch it.
Yep.
Season
as
5
long
on
as,
Base
as long as Matt Smith is in it.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
So I did one of my favorite stories when I was growing up. It's titled The Secret Garden ... of Carnage.
Oh.
Ooh.
And it's the secret garden, but the garden is carnivorous.
Oh, okay, the ruins.
And
Love it.
instead of a magical healing place, the garden is sentient and hungry, and it bonds with Mary.
I love it.
Ooh.
I love it.
I like that.
I didn't actually think any of the story. That's where I ended.
I mean, that's all we need. That's
Yeah, that I don't know why I went there. I didn't have any of that written down. That actually just all came to me at this moment. All I had was Jane Eyre and the Vampire.
I couldn't even think that far into Jane Eyre. I was just like, oh, Jane Eyre, I know that.
leave it to Keri.
Tell
us the whole story.
It
I love
just
it.
came to me.
I love it.
In the moment. The heat of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make me sing. Okay.
Oh, no.
Well, that's going to bring us to the end of our Pride and Prejudice and Zombies episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with us as we wrapped up the undead side of Jane Austen. Before we go, just a quick reminder that next week is our final episode of Season 3 and our final episode of 2025. We cannot believe we're already closing out the year.
I know.
But we do have a fun, cozy, chaotic finale planned, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And since we're about to wrap up this season, it's officially adaptation request time. So we're gearing up for season 4, which is coming in 2026, and we want your recommendations. If there's a book to movie or a book to series adaptation you love, hate, or desperately want to hear us cover, now is the time to send it in. We are finalizing our lineup soon, so get those requests in as soon as possible. Also, don't forget to check out Libro FM, which is our favorite platform for supporting local bookstores through audiobooks. While Pride and Prejudice and Zombies isn't available on there, tons of our other great titles are, including many of the adaptations we've covered. So thanks again for listening and hanging out with us, and for being part of our little book to screen community. See you in the next chapter. Yours, etc., based on a book. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.